debate. Tonight's event is presented by the Logansport Cass County Chamber of Commerce, the League of Women Voters, the Pharaohs Tribune, Iron Horse Broadcasting, and Cass County Communication Network. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your Tuesday evening to be a part of our event tonight. And thank you to those of you watching online as well, as we're being streamed across social media, and this will be available after it streams. And also a big thank you to the crew and staff here at McHale Performing Arts Center for allowing us to use the facility tonight and helping with the logistics and technology to pull off our event tonight. My name is Matthew Paul from Iron Horse Broadcasting, and I will be hosting tonight's event, moderating the proceedings. And just real quick, a reminder about voting in the upcoming election. Polling locations include, for early voting, Cass County Government Building, Galveston Community Center, Cass County 4-H Fairgrounds, the Logansport Community School Corporation Administration Building, Riverside Park McHale Complex, Royal Center Masonic Lodge, Walton Community Center, and of course, for more, be sure and visit the Cass County Clerk's website. Questions for tonight's debate were developed by a panel of representatives from the Logansport Cass County Chamber of Commerce, the League of Women Voters of Cass County, and local media, including Cass County Communication Network, Iron Horse Broadcasting, and the Pharaohs Tribune. And then we invited each candidate received a certified letter to be a part of tonight. We sent out 21, and we had 11 respond for tonight. The ground rules for tonight: each candidate for each office will have a 2-minute opening statement. Each candidate will be asked a question. They'll have 1 minute to respond. And after everyone has had a chance to answer, the opposing candidate or candidates will have 20 seconds for a rebuttal. Each candidate will then be given 1 minute for a closing statement. So in the event of only one candidate being present tonight, the candidate in attendance will have the option to answer the questions if they choose, and they all opted to answer the questions that we have for them. Our timer is down here on the stage, and our order for tonight's candidates will be first with the school boards, then we'll move on to the Cass County Council at Large, Cass County Commissioner, and then State Representative. So we will begin tonight's event, and we'll start with our candidate for Lewis Cass School Board, Mr. Tim Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is, again, Tim Johnson. I am finishing up my second term on the District 5 Washington Township seat of Lewis Cass School Board of Education, and I would certainly be honored to serve another term. I'm married to my high school sweetheart from Cass, Melissa, and we have 3 boys, the youngest of which graduated in 2023. So we're very invested in the community, and we love our community and our schools. And alongside the other board members over the past 8 years, I'm very thankful to have been a part of some pretty substantial changes. We've made some significant improvements to our buildings to ensure safety for our students and our staff alike. We've remodeled and improved infrastructure to improve the functionality of many of our spaces. We've made other improvements that have added facilities to aid in student instruction and enhance our extracurricular activities. And I think that so much has been accomplished over the last 8 years, and I'd like the opportunity to continue working with the team to build on what we've started, and with the goal of making Lewis Cass the school of choice in the area. I think we have a lot of great things to build on. We have a great community, great students, great staff, great programs, and I just want to be a part of working to fine-tune our resources to give our kids the best opportunities to learn and to grow, and ultimately be as successful as possible when leaving our school. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, first question for Mr. Johnson. Tell us why you believe you are the best candidate for the school board. What sets you apart from the other candidates?
The best. I believe I care. I am very invested. I love people. I love kids. I've been a coach, been involved in youth ministry over the years, and along with my wife, we like pouring into kids, and no better way to do that than to be involved in the school corporation's because that's where we're trying to bring up the young people so that they're ready to go out and face what's in front of them. And we've done that with our 3 boys, and we're very proud of the education they've received. And I just like to be a part of that to affect some change and to do what I can to support everyone. So,
what do you see as the current and future challenges facing public education?
Well, money is always a challenge. Funding will always probably be a challenge. I think that one of the biggest things, coming out of the last several years is how do you balance technology use and to make it a tool rather than sometimes a crutch, sometimes some other things. I think that technology use is one. I think that we've come out of a time where we really need to refocus on just some basics of how do we treat each other, how do we encourage one another, how do we teach and model to our kids to be the best young citizens that they can be. So I think that's something we really got to focus on.
How can schools address the learning needs of diverse students?
Well, I think you have to meet kids where they are. Everybody is going to have different skill sets, different adversities, different things that they're going to come to the table with, and you got to tailor what you do to those kids. And there's programs out there that we're actually experimenting with to try to do just that, to meet kids where they are, whether they have language barriers or whatever, to meet them where they are, and it's tailoring it to the students as much as you can with the resources that you have. So you cover a wide range of student abilities, capabilities, and everything else. So it's really just focusing on the needs of those students individually.
Can you explain where the money to fund our schools comes from? What are your budget priorities?
So money comes from the state, of course. We get our tuition assistance from the state. That's the biggest part of it that goes in our education fund. The other part comes from tax money. So as far as budget priorities, we need to always be student driven. So students have to be the first priority, and that, so the decisions we make in terms of staff, programs, everything has to be driven by what we want to accomplish and do for our students. So that's the priority, is the student, and I feel like we do that pretty well at Cass, and I want to continue to do that.
Final question for Mr. Johnson. What is your vision for education in this community?
I like to see education is more than just reading, writing, arithmetic, although that is the basic thing. But learning how to become productive young citizens, where I mean that there's soft skills, there's all kinds of things that go into that, and helping to nurture a place where we can model good behavior and just build on what parents do at home, and to turn out kids who can function in society. I think I work in the community. You see some shortfalls in those spots. So if we can do everything we can, that would be a good thing to do.
All right. You have a closing statement.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for everyone who is involved in putting this together. I appreciate being a part of it. I would appreciate your vote. So I want to be a part of the things that are going on for another 4 years. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us, but there's so many good opportunities, and I just want to be a part of that. So I just thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I need to note real quick that Rick Lee did not appear tonight. He is also running for Lewis Cass School Board, and we had no candidates from the Pioneer School Board who are here tonight as well. So next up, we are going to have our candidates present tonight for Logansport School Board, including Rebecca Groff, Mike McCord, Matt Mayer, and Zach Zamara. Yes. We will start with your 2-minute opening statement. We'll start at the far end with Ms. Groff. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Becky Groff. I believe on the ballot, I'm Rebecca Groff. I think the only person who calls me that's my mom. I'm running for Logansport School Board because I believe in Logansport schools. The role of the school board is to choose a superintendent and then provide support and opinions in what is best for our students. It is not intended to be a job that we micromanage a corporation. We have an amazing group of teachers, administrators, and support staff in place. We also have an excellent superintendent, McHale Starkey. My goal on the school board would be to assist her in making all the important decisions. I've lived in Logansport for 39 years. Now that I'm retired from teaching and I'm trying to build a new life for myself, I see the school board as an opportunity for me to continue to be a part of education in this community. I would like to be a part of keeping Logansport schools a place where students feel safe, accepted, and have educational opportunities. I have a bachelor's and master's in mathematics education. I taught for 37 years. I have teaching experience in teaching math from grade 7 through college level courses. 20 of the years I spent teaching were here at Logansport High School. I had 12 at Pioneer Junior Senior High. I did a couple years at middle school, and I even taught 3 years at Ivy Tech. I believe my education and my teaching experience are what a school board member needs to make informed decisions and to assist the superintendent. I also have insight into funding because at Pioneer I was the money person for our PCTA. I assisted the superintendent in determining salaries and benefits for our teachers. I believe this experience can be very helpful in making sure that Logansport Schools is fiscally responsible. There are so many issues facing our schools with the influx of immigrants, COVID recovery, gender awareness, technology, the list goes on. But I do believe my background in education and my background in teaching qualifies me as one of the best candidates for Logansport School Board. So I'd really appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Mr. McCord, your 2-minute opening statement.
Hello, thanks for coming this evening. My name is Mike McCord. I have been on the Logansport School Corporation board for 16 years now, 4 terms. I want to first thank all those that have voted me in the past and have trusted me to represent them as we raise your children and in the community. I also want to give you a little bit of background about myself. Logansport High School graduate. I also went to Purdue University, got a degree in business and management, came back to Logansport. Have a family business here in town that McCord's Do It Best in Eastgate Plaza. We're now celebrating 90 years of experience this year. And it's been a 4-generation family business. My great-grandfather and his brother started it, then my father, then myself, now my son Jake. One thing you learn from a family business is that Sam Walton from Walmart fame was famous for saying that the customer is the true boss of any business, because if the customer decides not to shop from you, then you'll lose your job, you'll go out of business, or if they choose to serve you or shop with you, they'll be in your business. So we've had 90 years of having people that have supported our company. I wanted to give back. 16 years ago, I wanted to give back, and I thought this was a good way to do that. So I've tried to support and represent all the people that are here. I also have a family of teachers. My mother was a teacher. My brother and sisters were teachers. In my own family, my wife is a dance teacher. Not exactly the same thing as a public school teacher, but a lot of the same threads go through. And I've got 3 of my 4 children are teachers. So I want to again thank you for voting for me. I appreciate your vote, and I hope to continue to serve you. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, your 2-minute opening statement.
Hello, my name is Matt Mayer. I am finishing my first term on the Logansport School Board. I have lived in the community now for over 20 years. My wife, Andrea, is, I think, in her 11th year teaching English in the corporation. She currently teaches junior English and is the yearbook advisor at the high school. Our two sons currently are in the school system, and it's very important to me that this school system succeed because of them. And, you know, I think in my first term we've made a lot of big improvements in the school corporation. You know, we've seen Columbia Middle School replaced by Logansport Intermediary. The academy has been open to give students alternative options for completing their high school education when they otherwise would struggle to do so. We've begun to see, I think last year we saw one kid get an associate's degree and then two, and now we're seeing multiple kids finishing high school with associate's degrees. We're seeing students going to college with 2 years worth of credits. We're doing a good job of providing opportunities to students who have diverse needs for education. We're doing a good job at meeting those and giving them an opportunity to excel, and that is what's most important.
Mr. Zamara, your 2-minute opening statement.
Am I good? My name is Zach Samara, and grateful to be here and grateful for those that are watching online and those that are here live. I think what's amazing about what you see on this panel, there's one person missing, but that there's 5 people running for this race, I think shows that our community deeply cares about our school corporation. This race is primarily uncontested throughout the state of Indiana. Most school boards, you know, it's one person running and that's all. In fact, historically in Logansport, that has been the case. I think you have great candidates that all deeply care about our schools and our students, that want to support Superintendent Starkey, that want to support the administrators. And so first of all, I just want to say I'm proud of that we have a community that cares and knows this is a great asset. I've lived in Logansport for 12 years. I'm the founder and executive director of Immigrant Connection and also the pastor of The Bridge. Some of my favorite heroes and heroines work for the schools and lead in the schools. And so I'm not running because I think there's like a problem or I have some axe to grind or something to fix. I'm running because I think this is one of the greatest strengths of our community and something that we can build on and something that I believe I can uniquely support with some of the areas of expertise I have. I think personally, maybe schools are only second as an asset to the diversity in our community. And one of the things that I love, my degrees are in anthropology and intercultural studies. I love the immigrants that call this community home, that choose to come from the world to live in Logansport. And I believe I can help our schools as we seek to educate probably one of the most diverse school corporations in the whole state. And so again, proud to be able to serve here, proud to be married to an educator in Logansport Community Schools and an administrator. I also have a son who's a freshman, and so I feel one of the best ways I can serve, even as a parent who has seen how the school has impacted my own student, is by trying to be an advocate for other families and students as well. So thank you so much.
We should note that, the 5th candidate, Kason Lake, is not in attendance tonight. So we'll start the question round, and again, you'll have 1 minute to respond to these questions, and then the other candidates will have a chance for a 20-second rebuttal. So we'll start again on the end with Ms. Croft. Tell us why you believe you are the best candidate for the school board. What sets you apart from the other candidates?
All right, I believe I mentioned most of that in my opening. I taught for 37 years, so I have an insight into what goes on in the schools, and I really think that's an important aspect to being on the school board. I also have the educational background, but I also have the passion. I loved teaching. I really, truly love teaching, but I do feel like my time was done. I needed to get out of the classroom. And I look at this as an opportunity for me to continue giving to Logansport schools, because I really think very highly of Logansport schools and all they have to offer our students.
Rebuttals to that, anybody? Okay. What's that? Oh, we're going to go across. Okay. All right. So, Mr. McCord, same question. Tell us why you believe you're the best candidate for the school board. What sets you apart from the other candidates?
Well, I think oftentimes they say that experience is a wonderful teacher, so it's how appropriate. I have been on the school board for 16 years, have been the president or vice president for a lot of those years, so I know kind of how the system works. It does take a while when you become a school board member to understand. You sometimes think that in schools and government that common sense would make sense and be the guideline. Not always the case, and so sometimes we have to basically learn, you can be on a mission to do something, but then if the state of Indiana doesn't have something set up that way, you've got to kind of learn to work the system. So I've got experience. I still got enough energy left to keep going. I'd love to continue to provide this thing. I'm on the board because I want to give back to my community. Very simply, I love Logansport, I love Cass County, and I want to keep giving.
Mr. Mayor, same question. Tell us why you believe you are the best candidate for the school board. What sets you apart from the other candidates?
What sets me apart and what sets me apart from most school board members I've met is that both of my children have IEPs. My oldest is autistic. My youngest has a global language and speech impairment. And when your children have IEPs, you experience the school in a much different way. Both of my children are very intelligent. My oldest son really gets through school with minimal special needs. My youngest son, he didn't learn to read till fifth, sixth grade. It's been a huge struggle for him, and he's very bright. So when you interact with the school corporation as a special needs parent, you learn a lot more about it than you would any other way. And so you ask me why I'm best, I've seen it in an entirely different way than anyone else here.
And Mr. Zamora, tell us why you believe you're the best candidate for the school board. What sets you apart from the other candidates?
I mentioned that I think one of the most unique aspects of our school corporation is the cultural diversity. And I want to be honest with anyone that would vote for me that I don't believe this is a long-term position for me. My hope is that within a couple cycles, our school board would be more equitable. It wouldn't be filled with white men, and I know I'm speaking as a white male, but that we would have a school board that reflects our community, that would have women and people of color on it. And so my hope is that with my experience in serving immigrants and loving immigrants and befriending immigrants, that I could be part of a transition that would empower others, that could give voice to that on our school board. And so I think I'm uniquely suited in the sense that, yes, I understand nonprofit governance and I understand financial budgets and I know how to support strategic planning, but I think mostly I want to serve to help our community better represent our immigrant families that make up the majority of our school corporation.
All right, rebuttals. Ms. Groff? No? Mr. McCord? Mr. Mayor? Mr. Zamora? All right. Second question. We'll start again with Ms. Groff. What do you see as the current and future challenges facing public education?
Challenges, okay. Obviously, money drives everything. And funding for the schools, everything is money driven. So if we need new programs, if we need to continue programs, salaries, benefits, everything is driven by money. As a school board member, I think we need to have a constant review and revision of our funding and our expenditures and making sure we're meeting the needs of our students. Of course, there's other challenges, and right now, of course, we have the challenge with our student body, with our population, and again, meeting the needs of the students that are presently here and meeting the needs of the new students that are coming to Logansport.
Mr. McCord, what do you see as the current and future challenges facing public education?
Well, we've always got challenges, so it's not something that is new to us. We have done an amazing job. We have amazing teachers, administrators. I mean, our whole staff. I mean, even janitors and bus drivers and the people in the cafeteria and our nurses and our secretaries. We have not had a challenge that we haven't met head on. So I'm not scared about the challenges because I've seen plenty of them come to us. One of the things that is kind of concerning is that for a while there's been a teacher shortage. Logansport has worked with IUK, and the fact that we have a lot of our students that are now going to IUK, and they will then be, trained to be teachers. And we have found that in Logansport, the best teachers are teachers that have come from our area, because oftentimes if you came, we've had some that come from like California and come in and say, "Oh, all you got's Applebee's." They don't know the culture. So I look forward to having just the you know, that we have all the challenges we can match.
Mr. Mayor, what do you see as the current and future challenges facing public education?
Funding and teacher shortages are both obvious shortages. The challenges. The challenge that I think doesn't get enough attention is the new diploma requirements. It's going to create a dire outcome for some of our students who want to pursue the college path, but are going to find that they have diplomas that will make them very difficult for them to gain acceptance to even public universities in Indiana. You know, it's been getting harder for Hoosier students to get into Purdue. These diploma requirements, Purdue has said, will make that tougher. So, you know, we're going to find ourselves in a situation where we're going to try and offer students this diverse and challenging curriculum, and we have a state government telling us, no, you don't need to do that. And it's going to hurt them in the long run.
Mr. Zamara, what do you see as the current and future challenges facing public education?
I think you've heard many of the challenges that we'd all kind of repeat with finances and things like that. I would say that we have all the normal challenges that every school system has, but on top of that, I think we have unique challenges. We have a growing population, and so figuring out facilities, I think it's already been mentioned how great it was that we built a facility, but like trying to figure out space is always going to be an issue, trying to figure out the reality that we need more funding and support staff because of our unique populations. I think teacher shortage is really important to talk about. We have too many emergency licenses that are teaching in our classrooms, and we need more, I think, diverse hires. I hate being a best kept secret. I get to travel around the country, and I always talk about Logansport, and I joke that everyone has a vacation home here. But like the reality is we have such a special community, and we need to help teachers that are in our colleges and universities understand that like you can get this small town feel, but this wonderful cultural diversity here. And I think we should be recruiting more teachers that are multilingual, more teachers that look like the students they're teaching in the classroom. So I think that's one of our unique challenges, but one that like we shared up here, we can overcome, I think, through innovation. So.
All right, third question, and rebuttals. Ms. Groff.
No.
Ms. McCord. Mr. Mayor. Mr. Vine. All right. Third question, and we'll start again with Ms. Groff. How can schools address the learning needs of diverse students?
Okay, first of all, Logansport's been meeting the needs of diverse students for years. Almost 25, 30 years now? And they've done an excellent job. And I do think that they have continued to change and update and evaluate and add programs and such. I don't know what else to say. We have interpreters, newcomers. If anything, the shortage of those staff members available would be the only thing that we really need to be looking for. But no, they do a good job, and I do think they continue to update and change as they can.
Mr. McCord, how can schools address the learning needs of diverse students?
Well, as Becky said, this is nothing new for us. It is a challenge. We have 27 different languages are spoken in our schools. We have 28 countries represented. So there are challenges there, but we have done a phenomenal job, and we oftentimes have visitors come here because we're not a gigantic school. But we have worked our way from the time when Wilson's Foods left and IVP and Tyson's were here. The challenge has been here, and our teachers, as I say, I think there are about 57 or 58 teachers, and we got another 10 that are in the batch that do ELL training. So we know the best way to get kids brought into our system. We have a system, we have, when the Haitians have come to town, we have an individual with them to see what's been your training, what have you done, how can we help you, and so they basically make an individual plan for each student because every kid comes in that may not have any English, they may have a little bit and that kind of stuff. So we've been very fortunate to have experience in this so far.
Mr. Mayor, how can schools address the learning needs of diverse students?
It's really hard to find new terrain on this question. I think as Mr. Johnson said before, you start by meeting them where they are. You know, my sons have IEPs. Many of our English learners have what are called ILPs, or individual learning plans. These are legal documents between the school and the families to, allow a pathway to be created for these children to maximize their education. We've had these things around for years. We do a good job at following them. We have increasing numbers of teachers becoming EL certified. There's always room for improvement. We do need more diverse teachers. There's no doubt about that. But we, I think, continue to strive to meet their needs and do a good job at it.
Mr. Zamora, how can schools address the learning needs of diverse students?
I want to be clear that I do think that the school has done a wonderful job, but like if we look at how far we've come, it's great, but we have so much further to go, I think, in reaching our diverse population, and we need to listen, to understand that all of our teachers understanding things related to intercultural and cross-cultural understanding. Every new culture is something new to learn. Every time I think I can pat myself on the back and think like, oh, I have degrees in this and this is what I do on a day-to-day basis, I'm learning that I do things wrong and I make people not feel like they have a sense of belonging, and I'm making people like forced to fit my norms. And so we can just do better at like being honest about where we are and being proud of it, but also realizing that we need to listen to diverse voices in our school corporation and our teachers that might have something to share, and listen to the students and the parents and be more interacting with our families who would say, I do feel like you've come a long way, but here are the next steps to take. And so I just don't want to be content on this and think that just because we're diverse, that means we're doing this great. We do have a lot more to grow on.
All right. Rebuttals for that, Ms. Groff? No. Mr. McCord? Mr. Mayor? Mr. Zamara? All right. Fourth question, Ms. Groff. Can you explain where the money to fund our schools comes from? What are your budget priorities?
Okay, the budgeting or the money comes from the state, and it is based on the number of students enrolled. I'm actually kind of curious because there's a date where they count the number of students, and with our population changing, I don't know how that affects our numbers, because however many students you have on a certain date, that's how much money you get. So if we have students coming in after that date, you're just out of luck, and at least unless that's changed. That's something I'd have to look into. We do get additional monies for special needs, English language learners, and so on and so forth. Priorities. My main thing is that the school board needs to assist the superintendent on reevaluating and making sure that we're being fiscally responsible and using our money as best we can to enhance our programs for our students.
All right, Mr. McCord, can you explain where the money to fund our schools comes from? What are your budget priorities?
Becky described it pretty closely. We'll all spit out the same formula. 95% of our money comes from the state and local money. One area that's kind of a concern is, that we have property tax caps, which sometimes means we don't get as much money as we might need to have. And realistically, and that we don't control that. So the main thing that I think that is important of what our priorities are is that we need to make sure that we invest money in certain areas. One is that as being our teachers, to make sure they're prepared to handle the diversities and all the problems and educational things. Second, we need to provide money for our students to make sure that we have the programs that they need to have. And then finally, we need to provide money to maintain our buildings and our properties. We've grown. We had we built a new school last year, and that didn't just happen in 1 year. It happens over looking forward, and Logansport's been very fortunate to have increasing head counts, and so we have more money available for that.
All right, Mr. Mayor, can you explain where the money to fund our schools comes from, and what are your budget priorities?
So the other 5% is federal money, and the money in the forms of Title I and Title II. Title I is a very important reading program. We've seen a lot of great advances in reading in our school corporation, especially using science of reading. We were ahead of the state on that. One of the most overlooked things is that Logansport is actually an urban school in a rural setting, and so we receive extra monies from the state through what's called the urban funding formula. that formula is broken. It has not kept up with the rate of inflation or, quite frankly, the rate of increases for schools overall. The other problem with the funding formula is that it does not take into account that not all diverse students are the same. And that's what we are seeing, now with different nationalities. We keep pinning the blame on one nationality for, let's say, increases in difficulty, but that simply is not fair. We have students from many different places who have had inconsistent education before getting here, and they need extra help, and we don't have the funding formula in place to allow us to do that.
Mr. Samara, can you explain where the money to fund our schools comes from, and what are your budget priorities?
It's great to have a last name that's SZ up here because I just go last. And so you've heard everyone share where the funding comes from. I don't get more funding since they ended and there's no more percentage from the state. I think for me, the priority is always like, how do we retain and recruit great educators? Having great teachers matters. Obviously, the budget needs to be spent on a lot of other things, but trying to figure that balance out of what do we need to get the best teachers here? So how do we help starting salaries be great? But then how do we help retain the people who are already great? Because every school is competing over the best educators. And so how do we not only get our best educators from our colleges and universities here, but how do we keep them? And that has to be a priority for us, and one that we're probably always going back to, because the problem with any nonprofit budget is like there's so many more needs and you have this fixed rate, so every yes has to be 3 no's. So what do we say no to make that a yes? And so that's where I would start. I would also say that we didn't talk about this, but we have some people who have gone after grants. Like, I think our Career Center is amazing, and a lot of the stuff there was because people went after grant funding as well. I think we have some of the best facilities, and so some people are really unique in how they've tried to add to that pot. I know it's a small amount, but it's still just something that should be celebrated.
All right, rebuttals, Ms. Croft. Mr. McCord, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Zamora. All right. Final question, Ms. Croft. What is your vision for education in this community?
Okay, my vision here. First of all, I think the schools should be a reflection of our community. And something we haven't talked about was safety. I hope that we have a corporation where our students feel safe to come to school, that they feel included in the classroom, and that they find learning fun and educational, and they get what they can out of the classroom. I hope the students graduate with the skills that they need to either go into the workforce, the military, go to college. I mean, guys, that's my vision for our schools.
Mr. McCord, what is your vision for education in this community?
Our school's mission statement is success, nothing less, and oftentimes I think people get confused as what that means. Success isn't just graduating from high school. We want to get success in life. So that does call on, Mr. Mayor mentioned the Career Center, and some people mentioned that. We have a lot of things that kids can follow a path. We want our kids to live the American dream. You need to be able to make money. You have to have, the background to do that. And so I think our motto, the success, we can't be just saying, okay, we got them graduated, that's the end of it. Our goal has got to be that these kids have got to succeed in life.
Mr. Mayor, what is your vision for education in this community?
Our job is to produce successful citizens. We live in a phenomenally complex world, far more complex than I grew up in. The amount of information, false and real, that our students have to encounter on a day-to-day basis, the understanding of technology that they're required to possess to do even the most basic job. We ask a lot of these kids, a tremendous amount of them. I mean, I've talked about how great it is that, we have kids leaving with associate's degrees or leaving with, half their college done. There's a tremendous price for some of those kids in terms of the anxiety and stress that they are under. So we have to be mindful that what we're trying to do here is create successful citizens, people who can come out into the community, hopefully stay here, and build a life that contributes to the community. And so that's our job.
Mr. Zamara, what is your vision for education in this community?
Oh, sorry. Oh, my bad. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I think two-sided. One side is like, I'm proud of Logansport Schools and want to build on the successes. Great programs that I tell people around the nation. We have a dual immersion program. They're just shocked a community our size has that. Things like our Career Center, P-Tech, other language. Our language program is great. And so just keep building on that and not settling for like we have great things, but we want to keep growing them. But then the second thing I'd say is I have the opportunity to come in and do in-service and do teaching with students and teachers. And when I teach students and we do like diversity, equity, and inclusion, we talk a lot, do you have a sense of belonging? Do you feel like seen, heard? Do you think people really understand you? And I usually leave that day feeling a little discouraged because a lot of students, honestly, when I meet with them, talk about like getting a great education but not having that sense of belonging. And I hope that we can endeavor to change that. And I think we're growing in that way, but I want every student to leave this place feeling like they were seen, heard, that they could truly be themselves, and that we met people where they were and helped take them to the next step that they want to take as they pursue the life that they desire.
All right, rebuttals for any of that, Ms. Groff, Mr. McCord, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Zamara? All right. We will now give you 1 minute for a closing statement, and we'll begin with Ms. Groff. Go ahead.
I would like to be a part of Logansport Schools. Like I said, I've retired. I'm planning on staying in this community. I miss being a part of the educational process. I believe my education, my teaching experience, and especially my desire to be a part of doing what's best for our students and making great decisions and helping our school board make those decisions is important. I also have the time, and because I have the time as a retiree, I can work hard and make the best decisions I can. I think I'd be a great candidate for school board, so I hope you vote for me. On the ballot, I'm Rebecca Groff, even though most of you know me as Becky. I also would like to thank those sponsors for giving us the opportunity to present our views.
All right, Mr. McCord, your 1 minute closing statement.
I want to just thank all you guys for coming tonight. Having been on the board for 16 years, I have seen what makes us work best is a diversity of people on the board, from big companies, small companies, all sorts of things, because we can bring input from the community into the board. So I want to thank you guys you guys are all great candidates. So I think it's all great. I want to say also that I'm going to put a plug in here. The school has something called the annual report, and you can go onto our website and go at the very bottom and it says annual report. There are so many great things about our schools that you may or may not know about, but you know, and we have a school board meeting every month, and it's always neat because each school comes in and presents stuff about themselves. The community doesn't know much about it, but it always amazes me at the heart of these teachers that give and give and give, and a lot of times it's beyond what their pay is for. So I say, you know, I hope that you know, I want to earn your vote again. I've appreciated your vote in the past, and so again, just get out and vote. And I say, you trust me to be your representative, and I will represent you. Any of us school board members, always, if you feel you have something that you need to know, you give us a call, and we'll be glad to talk to you about it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, your 1 minute closing statement.
I too would like to thank the sponsors who put on tonight's event. I'd also like to thank the other candidates up here with me. I'd like to thank all the candidates who showed up. Public service is a great responsibility and privilege, and part of that responsibility is being accountable to you, the people, to showing up in front of you and making our case for why you should vote for us. And we owe that to you, and you should expect nothing less than that from us. Whether I win or whether I lose, I know my children will receive a great education from this school corporation. I've enjoyed my time on the board. I believe I've made a difference, and I look forward to continuing to do so. Thank you.
And Mr. Zamara, your 1 minute closing statement.
Let me just echo the sentiment that I think it's great that with all the contentious nature of lots of things up here, you have 4 people who just deeply care, I think, about the community, and you have 4 great choices, and that there's not a lot of infighting or thinking anyone up here wouldn't do a good job and wouldn't care deeply for our schools. And so, again, I'm running because I think I have something unique to offer related to cultures and our diversity and the diversity in our community, and celebrating that and helping bridge the gap towards a time where my hope again is that in several years from now that this will look far more diverse when we have this forum, and that it will look far more like our community, and we will hear lots of great stories. But again, just celebrating the fact that these 4 are here and they have great ideas, and that we have a great school corporation we get to serve.
Thank you very much. Your candidates for Logansport School Board. Next, we will have our candidates for Cass County Council at Large, including Democrat John Cole, Republican Dean Davenport, and Republican Tracy Williamson. Republican Cheryl Alcorn is not present tonight. All right, we will begin with a 2-minute opening statement from each candidate, and we'll start on the far end again with Mr. Cole.
Good evening and welcome. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is John Cole. I'm a lifelong resident of Cass County and Logansport. I was born and raised here. I've chosen to live here. This is my community. This is my home. I have a vested interest in this county, this city. My high school diploma is from Logansport High. I was in the class of 1986. I attended Indiana State University and then IU at Kokomo. I received a associate's degree from there. I have a work history in Cass County. In my earlier days, I started at the old State Theater, Cinema, and the Skyline Drive-In, taking you back for memory lane there, huh? I also worked in manufacturing and at the Logansport Memorial Hospital, and for the last 29 years, I've been a blue-collar UAW employee at Stellantis. I believe I am the fresh voice for the county. I believe that a choice to support me that give a different perspective and a different view to some of the current issues that we face on the city. Again, I state that this is a vibrant community, a very enjoyable community, and I want to continue to push those agendas and see our community, our county, and our city grow. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Davenport, you have 2 minutes for an opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Dean Davenport, and I am a resident of Cass County, seeking my second term as Cass County Council. I've been here 44 years. My wife and I returned here. We moved away for 6 months after we got married 45 years ago. We chose to make this our home. I have worked for a company since the day after I graduated from high school. Currently engineering manager, going on my 48th year. I like 40s. So in the past 4 years, I've learned a lot about how the courthouse operates, what it takes for various programs, and we've got a lot of programs, and how the departments are funded. I think it's important to have a council that works well together to accomplish the duties that we are tasked to do. I'm also on the Cass County Redevelopment Commission and the Cass County Solid Waste Recycling Boards. It's one thing about you get elected, you also get appointed to other things to keep you busy. I care about our community and the integrity of the government. I care about the council to make the best decisions possible with the county's budget and spending of your tax dollars. I would be honored to serve another 4 years if I chose to, because I think we've got something going good with the council currently. Thank you.
Mr. Williamson, your 2-minute opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Williamson. I am running for re-election to the Cass County Council at large, as are the rest of us. I am not originally from Cass County. I am a transplant here. I am from Jay County originally, grew up in Portland. I'm the youngest son of a general contractor, so I spent a lot of my youth working with Dad, building houses and everything in between and all of that stuff. I graduated from Jay County High School, went to Anderson University, and picked up my education degree there, and then got a special ed license from Ball State University. I have substitute taught for 5 years in East Central Indiana and West Central Ohio, every school corporation that needed subs. I taught for a year in McHale, Texas, and then a year at Adams Central Middle School. And then I came to Logansport to be a teacher at Logansport Juvenile Correctional Facility. I've just completed 25 years teaching there. Basically everything that we teach there, except for art and PE, I've taught it at one point or another, and for the past 14 years, I've been teaching telecommunications, copper cabling, and fiber optics. I'm running for my first re-election to County Council, but I have been caucused on to Council 2 times before that, so I've been involved with County Council for the most part since 2015. I very much appreciate the opportunity to continue working with the council and providing the needs, financial needs of our departments to get the services out there to the community. I am also on the 911 board.
All right, your time is up. Thank you.
And a few others.
All right, we'll move on to the question portion of this. We do have 5 questions with topics ranging from transparency, Cass area transit, animal control, taxes, and public health. So we will start with Mr. Cole, and then you'll have 20 seconds for a rebuttal after everyone is answered. So Mr. Cole, you have 1 minute. With the current policies in place, what additional measures can be implemented to increase transparency in our county government? What policy changes would you recommend?
Some of the things that I would like to see, and one of the reasons why I decided to run, is I would like to see more transparency with the county council. I would like for there to be a line of communications between what's being done in the meetings, what's being done on the boards with the individuals in the community. I think having more transparency will give people a better choice, better idea of what's going on. Way too often we hear from individuals that, well, I didn't even know they were doing anything out there. I didn't even know this was coming down. So with that in place, if I'm elected to the council, I would make it my personal goals to inform the community more and to be a leader in informing the public on what actually is being considered. Thank you.
Mr. Davenport, with the current policies in place, what additional measures can be implemented to increase transparency in our county government? What policy changes would you recommend?
Well, transparency is that word that nobody likes to hear that we're not doing, and I'm not sure what we could do more other than we encourage people to come to our meetings. They're open door council meetings, as are the commissioners and planning, all the county meetings. There are executive meetings that obviously for certain reasons can't be transparent, but the one policy that the council was able to maintain was a public forum part of the open door meeting. You can come in and speak on any topic you wish, whether it is on the agenda or not. I don't know how you can be more transparent than that if you so choose to come and be part of it. Otherwise, you have to depend on the media, which is always not the best. I don't mean to bash any of the media, but we don't get a lot of coverage. We don't get a lot of citizens there, so come be part of the meetings and participate. I think that's the best avenue for transparency.
Mr. Williamson, with the current policies in place, what additional measures can be implemented to increase transparency in our county government? What policy changes would you recommend?
Well, as Dean stated, the state law requires open door policy. All of the meetings are advertised. They're on a regular schedule. They're advertised in the paper and CAS info. I believe they're advertised on the radio station. They're open to the public. The board, different board meetings are all advertised and open to the public, with the exception of the executive sessions that he mentioned, and those are advertised that they're happening. There's laws in place as to all of that procedure. The meetings, the council meetings, I know are live streamed, and so just there aren't a lot of people in the public that come to the meetings, and it's not because we don't make the effort to let everybody know.
All right, thank you. Second question, dealing with Cass area transit. Cass area transit, oh, my bad, I'm so sorry. Rebuttals.
Quick
Mr.
rebuttal.
You have 20 seconds.
The issue with transparency in the meetings, specifically on what time the meetings are during the day. A lot of times you're not going to have the availability for people that work to be attended at some of the meetings. Thank you.
Mr. Davenport, rebuttal.
I agree with what he said about it'd be nice if we could do it in the evenings, but when you have a county government with all the officials that are needed to attend, you're putting a strain on those departments. Not that I wouldn't want to do that, but it's hard to get a majority on something of that nature. So you do have to have security there. You have to have department heads, because
thank you.
7 people in council don't make.
And Mr. Williamson, rebuttal.
Yes. It doesn't matter what day of the week or what time of the day you have a meeting. Someone is not going to be able to attend that meeting because of other obligations. They have to work, they have to sleep, they have to do something. I work at Logansport Juvenile Correctional Facility. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
All right, thank you.
You know, so whenever you have a meeting, somebody that might want to go is going to be working.
Second question, dealing with Cass area transit. Cass area transit provides a valuable community service for many of our residents. What steps will you take to ensure the sustainability of this service? We'll start again with Mr. Cole.
My issues with the Cass County Transit is the funding. I would like to become more involved on where they're actually funded from, what they do with their funding. I know there are people in the city that use it for delivery to the outer skirts of the county, and I know sometimes the county funds may not be available for the people in the city, and I'd like to get more clarification on the issue. Thank you.
Mr. Davenport, what steps would you take to ensure the sustainability of Cass area transit?
I think those steps are being taken by the current board currently, and we had a new director, Mrs. Harris. Unfortunately, her untimely death is going to change a few things, but the board itself is doing a lot to make that a better program, make that a program for what the people need. And one of our commissioners is the president of that board, I believe, right, Mike? Yep. And they are making those changes to make that a better program. They just recently moved into a little smaller unit that is better suited for what they have. That'll help budget for them a bunch. And I know under Mike's direction, the budget will be taken care of and provided what is needed. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Williamson, what steps would you take to ensure the sustainability of Cass Area Transit?
Yes, to piggyback on what Dean just said, our EMS system and the Cass Area Transit just recently switched buildings. They basically did a building swap so that the Cass Area Transit, which was a much larger facility, is now EMS, and the EMS facility is now Cass Area Transit, and both of those facilities now meet the needs of those two entities at a much more cost-effective way for each of those two entities. So we've got a good team together right now with the board. They're moving things in the right direction with that board, and we're getting good suggestions from that board, from the commissioners, and we're working on those to keep that service going.
Rebuttals, Mr. Cole, Mr. Davenport, Mr. Williamson. All right. Third question, dealing with animal control. Over the past 2 years, animal control has sparked controversy in our community. What is your vision for animal control in Cass County, and what recommendations will you make?
Again, my recommendations would be, I would have to investigate the issue further. I would like to get more involved in what exactly some of the issues would be. I know we have had a void in the animal control area in the last year, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But again, this is an issue, in my point of view, that I need to personally get more acquainted with. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Davenport, what is your vision for animal control in Cass County, and what recommendations will you make?
I'd like to see the Animal Control Board and the Humane Society thrive. We're currently, without saying too much about the budgeting yet, we're currently working with the new director, Mrs. Ayers. She's doing a good job with the direction they're headed for some changes to resolve the issues that we have had. So I felt privileged that I and one of the councilmen met with Ashley or Mrs. Ayers early and found out what the needs. Not to my surprise, some of the things I learned weren't well received in the community. That's something I didn't think we heard a lot about, other than the fact I knew the county was having to take captured animals to Miami County and Huntington County. So I think it's our responsibility to take care of our animals here. Even if the pet owner chooses not to take care of them any longer, we have to do that for our safety, especially if you're talking about larger dogs and certain breeds of dogs. We have to be able to take care of that.
Thank you. Mr. Williamson, what is your vision for animal control in Cass County, and what recommendations will you make?
I would like to continue the positive steps that the new director at the animal shelter is taking. There has been, through the years, some contention with animal control, the Humane Society, the city, the county. We have had to take some animals, like Dean said, to other counties because our Humane Society wouldn't take animals that were running stray in the city or the county, or I think just the county, the city, they would. So I think positive strides are being made. My wife and I are the leaders of the 4-H Tail Waggers Dog Club. We have several animals of our own, so animals are very close to our hearts, and we want all animals to be well taken care of.
All right. Thank you. Rebuttals, Mr. Cole?
None.
No. Mr. Davenport? Mr. Williamson? Okay. Fourth question, dealing with taxes. Cass County has one of the highest income tax rates in the state of Indiana. Do you plan to keep it at its current rate, or will you adjust it? If you plan to adjust it, explain how. Mr. Cole.
Well, obviously, most individuals in the room would appreciate a lower tax rate. I think it would be wise to maybe look at maybe adjusting it. I think it would be beneficial for the community. But I also think that there are certain things that need to be funded and need to be funded well. And I think that should not dictate any of the budget constraints that might be put on other entities. We need to think the ones that need to thrive, we need to stay fully funded on those entities. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Davenport, do you plan to keep the tax rates at their current rate, or will you adjust it? If you plan to adjust it, explain how.
I wish to have my crystal ball. I don't want to see tax rates increased. I'm not saying that is going to be out of the question in the future, because we don't know what it's going to bring, especially with what's going on with our growing population. We don't know what we're going to see with that, what programs we may have to put in effect to take care of health care and medical needs of in the housing. But I will say this past year, Cass County Council did have the opportunity, because the state allowed it, to increase taxes, and we voted unanimously not to do that. Just because we had the opportunity didn't mean we need to go spending more money. So I think with that in mind, that kind of sets the tone to where we feel we're at. And as long as I'm a councilman, that's how I'm going to continue to feel. I don't want my taxes raised, and I think that's the way the community feels too. But we don't know where we're going in the future with the changes we're going to see in our community. So I can't make promises, and I won't do that.
All right, thank you.
That's my mindset.
Mr. Williamson, do you plan to keep tax rates at their current rate, or will you adjust it? If you do plan to adjust it, explain how.
Taxes are a thing that everybody hates to consider. Everybody hates to pay them. Everybody's taxes are too high. And as Dean said, we did have an opportunity. The state said, hey, you could raise revenue over here. You could raise revenue over here, which translates to taking more of your money. There's not a single government entity that has any money of their own. They take it all from the taxpayers. That includes city, county, state, federal, and schools. Schools take all of their money. Even if it's state money, it came from you. Even if it's federal money, it came from you. We do what we can on the board, on the council, to keep tax rates as low as we possibly can and effective and provide the services that are needed. But you've got to have the people to provide the services that the people want.
All right, thank you. Rebuttals, Mr. Cole.
My quick rebuttal would be to adjust the tax rate if there's surpluses that were currently being not used as advantages for some other things that maybe they need funded.
All right, rebuttal, Mr. Davenport. No. Rebuttal, Mr. Williamson? No? All right. Final question, dealing with public health. Cass County stands out for its growing diversity, with a significant immigrant population from countries like Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, Myanmar, Cuba, and Haiti. What strategies can our community implement to support our local healthcare systems, schools, and the county's overall economy? Mr. Cole.
Our community needs to look at the overall picture on the funding of our community for the health of the community. The hospital, I know, seems to be like the only main source of care for not just this community, but it's becoming a care center for other communities as well that no longer provide services as far as births, other things like that. So not only the immigration issue that is a hotbed topic at this time, but we also need to look at the other factors that are involved. I think the council can continue to provide support for the hospital, and again, with transparency, making aware of what's going on with the issues that the health organizations are seeing. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Davenport, what strategies can our community implement to support our local healthcare system, schools, and the county's overall economy?
This is the old adage, it takes a village. And right now our village, including our commissioners, council, the mayor, the city council, your police chief, fire chief, or excuse me, sheriff, the hospital board, they're all working together to come up with a strategy. I don't have an answer tonight to tell you what that's going to be. But we do realize it's an issue. It's not going to get better in any time future. Right now, it's the Haitians. 30 years ago, it was the Mexican population. We had to do this. Next year, it may be a different diverse community. But as a city that welcomes immigration, as we should, we have to figure out how to deal with this. And that's what the process is going on currently to try to do that. The easy answer would be to say, let's raise our taxes so we can pay for all this. But that's not going to be accepted by anybody. So we have to figure out what we can do with the resources we have today. Thank you.
Mr. Williamson, with growing diversity, what strategies can our community implement to support our local healthcare systems, schools, and the county's overall economy?
Well, that is a good question. And that is one that has been discussed at virtually every meeting that all of the different boards, all of the different councils, the commissioners, so forth. The state just provided a funding system through the health department that has helped provide a larger influx of revenue for the health department, and that was needed. It's getting our current diverse cultures to understand the importance of the healthcare system and how to use it properly. But a lot of departments are being overwhelmed by needs that weren't there several years ago.
All right, thank you. Rebuttals, Mr. Cole? No. Mr. Davenport? Mr. Williamson? All right. Closing statement, you have 1 minute. We'll start again with Mr. Cole.
Again, I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight. I also would like to thank all the ones that would like to support me for my candidacy. I believe I am the fresh voice. I am the new kid on the block. When I wake up in the morning and I look at my community, I look at my city, I see a lot of difference, a lot of things that aren't the same. But I think we can adjust and adapt to that, and we can move forward without fear and try to make this a better community. As someone, again, who's lived here all my life, all my adult life also, and who's chosen to stay here in this community, I believe this county can provide the benefits and the growth that needs to be seen to continue to thrive, and I want to be a part of that. Thank you.
Mr. Davenport, your 1 minute closing statement.
I better talk fast. First, I want to thank everybody for coming out. This is a good-sized crowd from what I understand. Thanks to all the people who put it on, and my fellow councilmen and maybe future councilmen. We'll see how all this works out. But if I'm chosen to run again, which I hope I am, or excuse me, if I'm chosen to serve again, which I hope I am, then I would do it with the same integrity that I feel like I've done in the last 4 years. That's really about the honesty and integrity is what I can bring to the table. So if you choose to vote for me, I certainly would appreciate that, and I take that sincere. Thank you.
And Mr. Williamson, you have 1 minute closing statement.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you for all that came out to watch. Thanks for all that are going to view this currently online or in the future it's recorded. I have really enjoyed being a part of the council and the different boards, and I do appreciate the fact that you're giving me the opportunity to run for reelection. I hope that you give me your vote. I do hope that you go out and vote for your conscience. Vote for your country. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming. Your candidates for Cass County Council at Large. Up next, we'll have Cass County Commissioner. We have one candidate appearing tonight, Democrat Tim Eaton. Republican Ruth Baker is not in attendance. And Mr. Eaton did elect to answer the 5 questions as well, so we'll go through those. Good evening.
Good evening.
You have a 2-minute opening statement. Go ahead and begin.
Very good. Thanks to everybody who is here. Thanks to those of you putting this on. And also thanks to everybody who's watching at home or will be watching over the next few days. I am not a long-time county resident. I was living in Chicago with my family and was transferred to Indiana with my day job. I didn't have to choose this area, but as my wife crisscrossed the state, we fell in love with the area. We happened to stumble on a neighborhood. We lived just west of France Park. Stumbled on a neighborhood on a beautiful fall day, and said, "This looks like a really good spot to have a home." So I was down here on my own for a bit. My wife was still working back in Illinois. Our younger son was finishing high school where my wife taught, and we didn't want to pull him out of that. One of the things that attracted me to this area is Logansport, the biggest city in the county. It reminds me a lot of where I grew up, which is Flint, Michigan. My father was a tool maker for AC Sparkplug, and like so many other cities in the Midwest, when corporations changed their focus on sort of being caretakers for their employees to being caretakers almost solely for shareholders, and offshoring of jobs happened and so on. So like many towns, Flint was hollowed out, industry left, and then the town spends several decades trying to rebuild itself. And I saw that in Logansport, but also have come here at a great time because so many good things are happening here in this town. We love living in the county. France Park is amazing. And I've literally met some great people here, and we are completely out of Illinois, sold everything, and we are committed to here. So not been a long time resident, but we look to be long-term residents. Thank you.
So same process. You're going to get these questions. You have 1 minute to respond.
I'll skip the rebuttals.
You can skip the rebuttal. That's fine. And then you'll have a 1-minute closing statement. All right, so we'll begin with transparency again. With current policies in place, what additional measures can be implemented to increase transparency in our county government? What policy changes would you recommend?
Well, I've noticed as I've attended the commissioner meetings the past few months, fairly sparsely attended. There is someone there who is live streaming the meetings, which is fantastic. I don't think it was happening before she took that upon herself. I could be wrong. But I thought that's what I was told. Those meetings happen at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. As someone mentioned in the previous group, it's a little tough for some folks. The meetings are twice a month. I would look to maybe do one in the evening and one in the afternoon as it currently is. That way, despite the fact that somebody will, always miss a meeting, hopefully that opens up the opportunities to people who are on a fixed schedule. I made a significant investment here in Logansport, and I'm fortunate that that business mostly happens in the evenings, so I could attend those meetings. I would also look to open up the time frame by which people can try to get something added to the agenda for those meetings. So the short term, or first things to come to mind would be those two.
All right, thank you. Second question, dealing with Cass Area Transit. Cass Area Transit provides a valuable community service for many of our residents. What steps will you take to ensure the sustainability of this service?
So that one I just have just begun to dig into a little bit to get some more information. I do feel that we need to make sure that that grows. We do have a lot of new folks in the community, and not all those folks that are showing up come from, have experience behind the wheel of a vehicle. I think it would be helpful to have ease of use and area coverage for more folks to take advantage of those. And I believe also that it generally stops running at 6 p.m. in the evening, so I'd like to see that run a little later. Particularly, I'm one of several downtown business owners who have activities in the evenings, and I think all of the businesses, and I'm sure businesses in Royal Center and Walton and so on, would benefit from having greater transportation availability at their disposal.
All right, third question. Over the past 2 years, animal control has sparked controversy in our community. What is your vision for animal control in Cass County, and what recommendations will you make?
So being newer to the community, this one I have heard lots of people complain about it, but I haven't gotten a whole lot of specific complaints. I'm actually meeting with Ashley Ayers tomorrow so that I can get into it a little bit more with her. What are the issues she's facing, and what does she think the community needs? So I've approached my candidacy for this role as, the primary thing I need to do is listen. My opinions are just my opinions, and really I'm here to, all government positions are really to serve the people whom you represent. So I want to make sure that I'm reaching out to folks who can tell me what they see the issues are, and then how can we as a community solve them.
Fourth question, dealing with taxes. Cass County has one of the highest income taxes in Indiana. Do you plan to keep it at its current rate, or will you adjust it? If you plan to adjust it, please explain how.
I just think, so again, looking at some budget things in the past few days, I think it needs, for me personally, to feel comfortable answering that one way or the other. I'm going to need to sit with other people in the community, commissioners. What are the needs? What are the wants, and what are the possibilities for the budget? Do we need to be, if the budget level stays the same, is that an opportunity? Currently, there's a budget surplus. Is that an opportunity to give some assistance to the schools that are struggling with an influx of different cultures, different language abilities, and so on? I agree. I've had interactions with the Career Center myself. It's fantastic. Is that an opportunity to invest in the community for long-term growth? One of the things that the current influx of immigrants notwithstanding, projections going back to 2020 looked at Cass County as pretty flat from a population standpoint. And if we're going to grow as a community, we need to attract more people to this community, both the county and the cities within the county, so that we can grow and can expand the kinds of things that are available for people to participate in here.
All right, thank you. And last question, Cass County stands out for its growing diversity with a significant immigrant population from countries like Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, Myanmar, and Cuba, Haiti. What strategies can our community implement to support our local healthcare systems, schools, and the county's overall economy?
Again, if there's a budget surplus, utilizing that to help support the hospital would be a great way to help the community, which helps all of us, right? A healthy population is better opportunities for all of us, less sickness going around, more opportunities to just grow that piece of the community. The hospital is a massive economic engine for this area, and having a top-notch hospital means, there's a physician who wants to bring her family to this area, and then that means her teenage kids who maybe they hunt and fish, and maybe they don't hunt and fish. What can they can participate in the great outdoor things we have in the community, and they can take advantage of things in the different towns in the area. And, you know, we see more things coming into towns because of that. You know, how great it would be to have somebody decide to open an indoor climbing business in town, or, you know, all the other things that teenagers like to do, and help keep them exercise, rounded out as individuals.
All right, thank you. And your 1-minute closing statement.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I approached this as wanting to listen, and my wife helped me to distill my thoughts about this into, you know, a 3-word, sort of easy to remember mnemonic: accountability and community and transparency. I joke a lot, but I don't think there's anything more serious than the responsibility of handling other people's monies. And government money is our money. And how are we using that? Are we using it the way we said we were going to use it? Are we asking how we should use it? Are we getting feedback from the community and getting that from you, how we should be applying these funds? And then what's the process by how we chose those? You know, did we do what we said we were going to do with the money, and can you see the receipts? So thank you very much. Appreciate your time here this evening, those of you watching, those of you here, and everybody on your team who put this together. Thank you.
All right. Candidate for Cass County Commissioner, Mr. Tim Eden. Up next, we will have State Representative District 23. Democrat Rick Rouser is going to head to the table. Republican Ethan Manning is not in attendance this evening. Good evening. You have a 2-minute opening statement, and then we'll get into the questions.
Hi, I'm Rick Rouser, and I'm running for State Representative for District 23, which includes most of Cass and Miami counties. I'm running because my opponent is not working for our district. His votes and his donor list prove this. He's a career politician building his resume, and he's not here tonight because he doesn't believe you deserve to hear from him. This is unacceptable. Our state government is very one-sided at the moment. Government overreach is taking our rights and leading us down a one-way path to the bottom. More pregnant mothers and babies die in Indiana than most other states. And we've become one of the worst states for air pollution and water pollution. We have become a dumping ground for other states. Teachers are leaving our state in record numbers, and education outcomes are low. And what has my opponent done for this? Nothing. I'm an electrical engineer and a Purdue graduate, and I have a grandson at IU, so I covered it all. I know how to find solutions for problems, and solutions that are based on research and data, and not just to please a lobbyist with big pockets. My wife Lita and I have 3 children, 4 grandchildren, and they motivate me to run for this office. I want to work for a bright future for them and for all Hoosiers. I know that winning this race is a long shot. I'm an underdog. I ask for you tonight if Ethan Manning has done the work for District 23. And if you don't have an answer, I'm going to ask for your vote. Give me 2 years, and I pledge that the 65,000 people of District 23 will be my #1 goal and my #1 focus at the State House. Thank you.
So we have questions ranging from property taxes, referendums, education, school choice, environment, and general. We'll start with property taxes. There is a proposal to cap or reduce property taxes, so share your thoughts on how rural and local communities, schools, hospitals, etc., would be affected if this proposal is successful.
Well, property taxes are the main funding for our schools. And our schools right now, at least in Cass County and Miami County where I serve, are losing up to $4 million from voucher system that goes to private schools, which are not, we don't have any in our county. And so mostly it's going around the 465 Beltway. So if we reduce the property taxes, it becomes that property taxes become one of our main sources to fund our public schools. So we need the state legislature to fund the schools, and they can do that. And so that we don't have to go in with a referendum or something to ask to increasing those property taxes. I do think we need on property taxes to freeze some senior citizens are having trouble if the appreciation of their property goes up, and then they can't afford to pay for it. So we need to freeze, help seniors out.
Indiana currently ranks 50th in the United States for voter turnout. Ballot measures have been successful in other states. How do you plan to support legislation enabling Indiana to have ballot initiatives on the election ballot?
I'm definitely for ballot initiatives and ballot referendums. It's a heavy lift to get one. In most states, you have to have a lot of signatures on a ballot or on a petition and present it. But in my mind, this is another way that the GOP is keeping themselves in power. They won't initiate these referendums because they want to have total control and control the narrative of what goes on. So I do believe we need ballot initiatives and need to get that into the State House. But it's going to take voices to keep after your state representatives to get that done.
Indiana supports school choice vouchers. The Indiana Coalition for Public Education issued a nonpartisan report that calculated Cass County schools lost more than $1.7 million in state funding in 2022 due to vouchers. Please share your thoughts on whether you believe school vouchers are beneficial for the educational system in Indiana, and discuss the pros and cons of school vouchers.
Well, school vouchers at the moment for this district, Cass and Miami counties, are costing us a lot. This school here at Logansport has lost $978,000 in 2 years. Lewis Cass, where I live, has lost $300,000. So a lot of schools have lost a lot of money going to voucher programs. And these are going mostly to private schools. And those private schools, as I mentioned before, around the 465 Beltway in Indianapolis, like places like Hamilton County. But vouchers are also going to other schools, and what we find is the school systems now have to have a marketing team to market their school so they can get students there so they can keep their money up. We need to, the voucher system is not working, we need to fix it. And private schools are okay, and we can fund them, but we need to make sure our public schools are supported, because that's what we have in Logansport.
Indiana currently has one of the poorest air and water quality rankings in the U.S. How would you propose supporting increased state funding for better oversight in both the Department of Natural Resources and the Indiana Department of Environmental Management?
Well, we do need to increase that funding, and we have to find the money somewhere. We always say that the state says they have a surplus, so I think that'd be one place to put it. We've become a dumping ground for the country, for the states around us. You know, our dump here gets trash from Ohio, comes all the way over here. Our laws have been set up so that we don't protect our citizens, we protect corporations. And that's why companies like WSP find Indiana a great place to be, because the laws are incentivized to protect them from anything that goes wrong, a spill or something, and not help the individual. Peru is a good example where an industrial spill over there has ruined a whole neighborhood. And if you happen to drive through there, you'll see these PVC pipes going all over the place. It's maddening, and the residents have very few things they can actually do to get relief.
And your last question. As a candidate, you have been campaigning and engaging with your constituents. Based on those discussions, what do you consider to be the most important challenges to tackle over the next 2-year term?
Well, so the most important one, I think education is one that really comes to my top of my list. But there's so many. There's, education, soil and water, reproductive rights for women. The list goes on and on. This one-party rule that we have, they've taken us down. So I think one thing is happening, at least for me and my opponent, is that he's not made himself available, that we can find out, to talk to the people and see what the issues are in this community and what we can do about them. And I would plan to make myself available to talk and be available for listening and see what the problems are, what we can do as solutions for those problems.
And finally, you have a 1-minute closing statement.
Okay. This race is about two very different visions. For 6 years, my opponent has proven he is simply gone for the people of District 23. However, you don't have to support this vision. You could vote for me. I'll fight for your freedoms to make your own private health care decisions. That's not government's jobs. I'll work to give you freedom to send your child to a great public school, and I'll fight for your freedom to breathe clean air and drink safe waters. You can learn more about my campaign at rickrouser.com. I want you to give me 2 years, and if I don't do the job, you can fire me. I've been part of this community my whole life. I've raised children here. I volunteer and work here. And I go to the events and happenings in this district. And I'm not going anywhere. Serving as state rep won't be a stepping stone onto a higher and bigger something. Serving as a state rep will be an honor, and my mission will be to make Indiana a better place to live. And I ask for your vote November 5th. Thank you. Or before.
And next, we have State Representative District 38 candidate, Mr. Carl Cease, coming to the stage, and Republican Heath Van Natter not in attendance tonight. Good evening.
Hi.
You have same rules. You have a 2-minute opening statement, and then we'll go through the questions. 1 minute to answer, and then a 1-minute closing statement. So you may begin with your opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Carl Cease, and I'm happy to be here and thankful to those who have organized this for us, and thankful for you in attendance, either in person or online. I think I'm the only one here who's not from Cass County, because I'm running for the House District 38, which includes all of Carroll County, all of Tipton County, and portions of Tippecanoe, Clinton, Cass, and Howard counties. I live in Delphi, where I grew up, and have recently, 3.5 years ago, retired as a public school teacher. I taught at Twin Lakes High School in Monticello most recently. And I am concerned about what's going on in Indiana and for the future of Indiana. For over a decade, one party has governed Indiana with a supermajority. At this point, I fear they are taking their constituents for granted. As I go around the district, including Galveston and Young America in the southern part of Cass County, I hear complaints about the lack of opportunities in our area, especially for young families who get a solid education here and then feel they need to leave the area to use it well. Businesses invest more where people want to live and work. in turn, people want to live where the quality of life is high. I think it is time for us to put more efforts into improving the quality of life throughout Indiana, and especially in District 38.
Okay, your first question dealing with property taxes. There is a proposal to cap or reduce property taxes. Please share your thoughts on how rural and local communities, schools, hospitals, etc., would be affected if the proposal is successful.
We already have caps on property taxes, and the result has been to restrict the funds available to many of our local governments and school districts as well. I'm not going to be popular with this statement, but I am not in favor of maximizing those caps. I think we need to relax somewhat the caps on property taxes because we have come to rely so much on that for our revenue in Indiana. And our schools need improved funding to avoid having to go to the public for referenda all the time. Our hospitals, our libraries, our parks, our transportation system, all kinds of needs are out there in our community. If we are going to improve the quality of life and work on improving the long-term situation for Indiana, we need to be willing to relax the caps on property taxes.
Okay, thank you. Indiana currently ranks 50th in the United States for voter turnout. Ballot measures have been successful in other states. How do you plan to support legislation enabling Indiana to have ballot initiatives on the election ballot?
So all but 15 years of my life I have been in Indiana, in Carroll County. Those 15 years I was in Oregon and California. There, the Constitution allows more referenda and initiatives, and is a much different process. Indiana's Constitution makes it very difficult to have initiatives and referenda, and that's based on history, but it is now, it would take major efforts to change that Constitution, and the supermajority in power is not going, realistically, is not going to make those efforts. So I don't expect to be able to have legislation anytime soon in Indiana. We need to first get rid of the dominant supermajority control of both houses of the Indiana legislature, and that will be a long-term effort.
All right. Indiana supports school choice vouchers. The Indiana Coalition for Public Education issued a nonpartisan report that calculated Cass County schools lost more than $1.7 million in state funding in 2022 due to vouchers. Please share your thoughts on whether you believe school vouchers are beneficial for the educational system in Indiana, and discuss the pros and cons of school vouchers.
School vouchers take taxpayer money and provide it to families to pay tuitions at private and parochial schools. I believe that is wrong. I believe that public monies should go to public schools. Private schools are fine. I went to a private college and I paid for it with private funds. That's what should be happening if people don't want to take advantage of the public schools in their community. We have solid public schools in most of Indiana. We need to provide the funds for that. School vouchers come from the same pot of money that is available to all those public schools. So every time the money goes to school vouchers, it comes out of what is available to the public schools. I believe they are undemocratic. They part of the public school system is that we elect our school boards. That's a form of accountability that voucher-supported private and parochial schools do not have.
Thank you. Indiana currently has one of the poorest air and water quality rankings in the United States. How would you propose supporting increased state funding for better oversight in both the Department of Natural Resources and the Indiana Department of Environmental Management?
Increasing funding is always a challenge, and as Rick Rouser pointed out, the statistics are very poor for Indiana in terms of our air and water quality. We need to do more to provide funds to IDEM and the other agencies around that. We need to be willing to do more, and I think that that will require some work. I believe that our corporations are and utilities especially are our major producers of especially air pollution. The report just came out in the last couple of days about how much pollution is coming from the utility generators and steel manufacturing in Indiana. That taking care of that pollution, I think, is a responsibility that needs to be more on the hand taken by the corporations that produce it.
All right, thank you. And finally, as a candidate, you've been campaigning and engaging with your constituents. Based on those discussions, what do you consider to be the most important challenges to tackle over the next 2-year term?
Making Indiana a place that young families want to stay in and raise their children here is a challenge for not just Indiana, but rural states throughout the Midwest. We need to be concerned about the long-term future of Indiana in terms of its environment, in terms of its opportunities, as well as what is traditionally included in the economic prospects. And I believe that that's the challenge that I hear as I go around the district. People saying that their children have gotten a good education here, but they don't see the opportunities here that will keep them here. They are wanting a better quality of life.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Cease, you have a 1-minute closing statement.
As I said, I'm running for office because I'm concerned about Indiana's future. I care about that long-term future for Indiana. I care about public education. I care about the environment. That includes looking at the prospects of climate change and their coming effects on us. They are affecting us now. Look at our insurance rates. And most politicians don't want to talk about climate change. I'm not afraid to. I care about access to quality health care, including access or improvement for opportunities for our community hospitals that are under threat, as are women's reproductive rights. I care about economic opportunities, and I care about liberty and justice for all. Hoosier hospitality is not a thing of the past. We need to welcome all people to make Indiana their home. People in all their diversity must feel safe and secure in our communities. Thank you, and thank you for coming, and thank you for the organizers of this evening's program.
All right, State Representative candidates for District 38, Carl Cease. Thank you. And that will conclude our 2024 candidate debate presented by the Logansport Cass County Chamber of Commerce, the League of Women Voters, the Ferris Tribune, Iron Horse Broadcasting, and Cass County Communication Network. Again, thank you to all of the candidates for being a part of this tonight, not just for being here, but for your interest in our community and our schools. And again, a big thank you to the staff here at McHale Performing Arts Center. Don't forget, Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. Get out and vote, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Thank you, good night, and God bless. Like every time, man. It's
It works early, then it just goes down. Hey, thanks for what you do.